What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob, doing a double header here, and this is a Patreon request from Joseph Horton. He wanted this Octomore 14.2, so I figured I'll also throw in the Bruichladdich 18 since they're from the same company. Unpeated on the Bruichladdich side, this Bruichladdich 18 here, and then peated, of course, on the left-hand side here. So I'm gonna do that one second. I'll start over here with the Bruichladdich 18. I just got this bottle, just popped it, was impressed right away, so I decided I'll throw this into the review. Incredible malty nose. It's not overly complex on the nose. There's not a ton going on. There's some fruit, but it's very malty, and it's got this like Craig Alec-y, deep, like rich kind of nose, despite the lack of complexity, if that makes sense. Really nice nose. Super malty, super bready. Sweet bread, like my mother makes Paloma. It's an Italian Easter bread, and that's kind of what I'm getting here. Maybe like a lemony zest in there as well. A little bit of orange peel, but not like overly fruity, more to the bready, kind of sweet bread kind of style. Maybe even like a buttery croissant. Really nice nose, 50% ABV. I really like what they did with this, despite the goofy green, or attempt to go green with these cases that they came in. Nose is great. I was lucky to get this for $2.20 Canadian. I know a lot of people didn't get it for that price, so I'm grateful for sure. This was, I think, a good price based on the way it smells and tastes, but it's scary to see how quickly 18-year-old whiskeys are going up in price. Nose is great. Not overly complex, like I said, but sweet bread, lemon or orange zest. On the palate, it's very full, very viscous. Lots of that malty characteristic comes through as well. The sweet bread continues. I want to say that this is 100% bourbon casks. I could be wrong about that. Correct me in the comments if I am. So cool to have some unpeated Islay options like what Bruichladdich does, as well as Bunnahabhain. And I gotta say, it's not like we're talking unpeated like Hazelburn. It's actually unpeated. There's very little to no peat whatsoever in this 18-year-old Bruichladdich. Whereas in the Hazelburn, you're getting a ton of peat despite the fact that it's unpeated barley. Probably because of the malting floor, maybe because of the stills. I'm not exactly sure why, but maybe the barrels even, I don't know. Thick, bready, Easter bread, buttery croissants, incredible palate, very nice viscosity. 50% ABV is actually perfect because it doesn't drink like it's 50% ABV, and the only way you would be able to tell is the viscosity. It drinks more like it's 43 as far as heat goes. So really great job they did with this. I'm surprised there's not more hype around it. A lot of people kind of dismissed it, thought less of it right off the hop. A lot of people were aiming for the Port Charlotte one instead, probably because of the collectability to it. Not exactly sure why, but I know that there was less made of the Port Charlotte. This is really good. honestly, I got to give this one an 89. I think it's fantastic. One of the better whiskeys I've had this year. Definitely would buy another bottle at $220. When you start to creep up to the $300 range, it starts to get a little bit scary as far as price goes and replaceability. But fantastic whiskey for sub 250 Canadian. I really like that. Moving over to Joseph Horton's request, this 14.2. So what attracted me to this 14.2, despite the fact that it's an Octomore and every once in a while I gotta have an Octomore on my shelf, it's first fill sherry, first fill Amarone, and then second fill Amarone casks. So 3 different types of casks. 2 of those are Amarone casks. So I thought that was very interesting for a Octomore, and I had to try it. Some other interesting facts: it's 5 years old minimum, 57.7% ABV, and then 128.9 ppm. That's parts per million of peat. So these are expensive now, crazy expensive. I believe I got this one for around $220 as well. So comparatively, you have a $220 18-year-old from the same company that you're getting a 5-year-old. We're gonna see if it's worth the same. Nose is really nice. I wouldn't say it smells like it's heavily peated. It definitely smells peated, but stuff like Michael Tour, some Laphroaig, most Laphroaig, most Ardbegs smell more peated than this. So like that number kind of has become meaningless a little bit, that 128.9 ppm. Who even knows what that means anymore? We know that Ardbeg and Laphroaig, for example, are their ppm levels are like 40 or 50. So why that doesn't translate here, I guess, just doesn't make sense to me. But you definitely get the peat on the nose. Maybe to someone that's not peat blind like myself, they'd get a lot more than I do. I don't know. Really nice nose though. Very sweet on the palate. Now, here's the funny thing about wine casks, and I found it interesting that they decided to mix with Oloroso because it's already hard enough to taste the wine cask in a whiskey. But if you just told me that was Oloroso, I'd believe it. The palate's really nice. The palate is actually a lot better than the nose. The nose you don't get a ton, but on the palate, you get almost this like candy cane kind of sweetness. Maybe like in the spearmint, mint kind of realm, I'm not sure, but it's nice. Yeah, really nice. I gotta say, it's not worth the $220. And a lot of that has to do with packaging and presentation. Unfortunately, when it comes to Octomore, I think the gimmick is up. I don't think anybody's kind of buying into the 230 ppm, whatever. Who cares? I don't think it really shines. For example, Michael Tour Turbo is 70 ppm, and that's being measured at the bottle level. So this is being measured at the barley level, and it probably would come in around 50 if I had to guess, maybe less, at the bottle level. So who knows? But the Michael Tour is definitely more obvious, more of a peat punch, and I would take that over this for 1/3 of the price, pretty much. That's just my opinion. the Octomore is good, but not worth the price. And for all those reasons, I got to give this one like an 84. It's good. I like it a lot. I'm glad I have this bottle. I definitely will enjoy it. But when you factor in price, you factor in what you're getting for it, you factor in what's in the market for much less, it's very hard to justify anything north of $200 for these bottles. So maybe Bruichladdich will adjust the pricing now that Mico Tour is out, but I doubt they will, to be honest. But I feel like they hit the mark clearly on this Bruichladdich 18. I really enjoyed it. So that's just a contrast. It all, honestly guys, like if you ever thought that I was biased towards brands or anything like that, I think this proves that I have no bias towards brand. It all is what the bottle actually delivers. That's it. So this one is an 89 and that one's an 84. All right, hope you like this video, guys. If you want to be part of the Patreon program where you get to pick the bottle that I review next, you can join Patreon for as little as $1. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and support this channel, like I said, on Patreon. Cheers.